Everybody is talking about Lily Phillips, but what about these men? Like, what makes you want to sleep with a woman who has just slept with 99 other men? Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are talking about the infamous Lily Phillips, who decided that she wanted to sleep with 100 men in 24 hours. And it is very tempting to berate her and call her crazy, but that's not really what I'm here to do today. Today, I really want to talk about just what I noticed in her and what we can all learn from this incident. So first, I want to point out that there was so much regret in her eyes, so much regret in her body language, her tone, her voice after the experience.
I don't know if I'd recommend it.
Why not?
I think if you're a different type of girl, it's very like, it's kind of like being a prostitute in a sense of like, it's just a different feeling. I don't know how to explain it. Like,
It's not like just having sex with someone.
yeah. Just one in, one out. Like it feels intense.
Like more intense than you thought it might.
Definitely.
Sorry.
Okay. Okay. Just take
Yeah, 1 minute. I think I was you know, when I talked to you last, like I was not nervous. It was like the day before I was like, oh, I'm so nervous. But it was good. It was more, I guess the interactions when like, I'd have to stop them early and like, you'd have to stand on business and be like, I'm so sorry, you got to go. And like the awkward interaction of like you feeling pressure to have to make them come if like you haven't spent enough time with them and feeling like you didn't give them a good time because like they only got 2 minutes.
And that's what's making you feel emotional, is that maybe you think you didn't give some guys a good enough time today?
Yeah, and it's hard, I think, having the interactions with them when they're like, what, you're not going to make me finish, I've come all this way, like kind of like guilt tripping me a little bit. I felt bad, like some people just travel so far, like I didn't want to give them a shit time and like come away from this and be like, oh, that's shit. I think sometimes like feeling so like robotic, like by the 30th, you know, like when we're getting on a bit, I've got like a routine of like how we're going to do this, and like it just, sometimes you like disassociate and be like, you know, like it's not like normal things at all.
And I noticed that she tried to mask it by saying, well, I felt like I couldn't please them. I wanted to do a good job. I didn't want people to say it sucked, which may be true, but it didn't seem like that was exactly what she felt all of that emotion for. It seemed like she was feeling like it wasn't worth it. And honestly, that was hard for me to watch. I was taken aback by the stark contrast from the beginning of the documentary towards the end. So in the beginning of the documentary, I'm not really nervous, I'm okay, everything's fine.
That was just being at university. Like I was just sleeping around with everyone.
But I feel like I know of a lot of girls who have done that at university but then haven't gone on to become OnlyFans stars.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I just was like already very, not proud, like very just okay with doing that. Like I've just always had quite like a sexual nature.
Yeah.
I just thought I might just make like a couple £100, can get a few rounds of drinks in, stuff like that just helps me out a little bit while I'm at university.
Sure.
I didn't think it would turn into like my whole career, but I think as soon.
And then at the end, she was absolutely in tears and even had to take a little bit of a moment. And I think that goes to show you that no matter how much you say something, if you are acting in a way that is not truly something that you want to do or is aligned with what you feel honestly deep down in your soul is right, it will come out in your body. We often talk about trauma responses in the body, and she is manifesting a deep feeling of some sort. It doesn't seem like it's peace. I don't sense peace from her after this experience. And I think that's true for a lot of women. So that's just something for us to take note of. Now, what's really interesting about Lily Phillips is, number one, she slept with as many guys as some women sleep with in 10 years in a period of 24 hours. The reality is that the reaction is the same. So this is a Christian channel, you guys. I honestly don't believe that women should be giving their bodies away to every single man that wants it. I think that it's something that should be preserved for marriage. And so I'm just going to have the perspective. And some people are starting to realize this, even though they're not Christians, they're realizing that it does take an emotional toll on you as a woman to continue to give your body away to men who then leave you. And so what I notice is like this reaction that a lot of women get 10 years down the line after they've slept with over 100 guys over 10 years, it takes them 10 years to experience what Lily felt in 24 hours. Now, I have thoughts about the fact that it took 100 men. My assumption is that she has already been feeling this and this just sort of exacerbated it. But a lot of women come to terms in the same way that Lily did in 24 hours that, you know what, this really isn't how I want to live my life. I don't want to live my life, even in relationships, just giving my body away because we're in a relationship. I want it to be something that is meaningful. So that was the first thing that I noticed and the first thought that came to mind when I watched this documentary. The second thing that I noticed is how much she talked about how it was okay, but she contradicted herself a couple of times because in the first part of the episode, she's like, oh, my parents are cool. Like, I have a really cool family.
Your parents must be very sort of forward-thinking and open-minded, which is great. Because I think if I told my parents that I was the UK's biggest cunt, they probably they wouldn't like that. Show me the set.
And then the producer says, do they know that you're doing this? Do they know that you're having sex with 100 men in 24 hours? And she goes, well, they don't need to know the details. And he goes, well, why not? And she says, well, I don't want them to think less of me. So your parents are not cool with it. Like, they're actually not. And you know this, but I think number one, she's trying to protect her family, which I understand. And number two, you have to keep up the facade that this is normal, that this is acceptable, that this is good, that you've chosen this. And the sad part is, I think she feels stuck. I think she feels like this is the only thing that she can do. One of the things that is interesting is like when you're I don't prostitute, like a streetwalker at night, the people who know you are the people in your town, right? In your area. When you're on OnlyFans, people know you globally. When you're, like, let's say I live in the Bay Area. So let's say you're in East Oakland, right? You're a prostitute in East Oakland, an escort, I guess. If you wanted to move to North Carolina and start your life over and become a radiologist, I was just watching the Soft White Underbelly episode with the girls from Oakland. You could do that, and no one would know. No one would really they just wouldn't have any background on you. But someone like a Lily Phillips, she has created this empire based on her sexual endeavors. And so I think what's really sad about this to me is that she feels stuck. And that she feels like this is the only thing she can do. And I could see that it's almost like you have to keep up the lie because otherwise, what is she going to do next? And my message to her would be, there's redemption in all things. Like, you can find a way to turn this into more of a lesson and switch. Maybe you don't have to go into some corporate job, but maybe you can turn your platform into something that is more helpful to women and talk about the dangers and the slippery slope of getting into this industry. The next thing I want to talk about is the fact that her ideology around men seems to be very skewed. It seems like she has this sort of self-fulfilling prophecy going on. So in the documentary, that one of the guy who's interviewing her says, why are you doing this? And she says, well, I'm going to be sexualized anyway.
Guys are always going to sexualize me, so I may as well try and profit off that bit.
I mean, not all guys are going to sexualize you.
I don't really know. Maybe not all guys, but sure would. I mean, I'm like a part of the problem. It's so hard because like doing extreme stuff like this is not normal. And I think then guys are probably going to expect girls to maybe be as strong as me and sleep with this many guys and take it up the ass or do stuff like that isn't real life sex.
To me, that tells me something very deep. And this is where people are going to disagree with me. I think this is the problem with this sort of like third wave, fourth wave feminism movement, where we have demonized men to be simply creatures who want sex. Unfortunately, because of her industry, she is introduced to men who reaffirm this belief. But the reality is that there are men out there who will not simply want you just for your body. But it's really sad to me that she has been imbibed, I guess. She's imbibing this ideology that all men want is sex, so she may as well make money from it. And that is simply not true. So what I wonder is, where did she learn this thought process? Did someone not teach her how to value her body and to say no to men? Did someone teach her that sexual liberation is the way to go? Because quite frankly, you guys, I hate that. I hate that philosophy. I despise it. for young women. It is your virginity, your body, your sexuality is not for everybody. It does not make you feel better to sleep with a bunch of men. It does not make you empowered to do that. It does not make you empowered even to be naked online. When I used to teach in an all-girls school, we used to have this conversation about self-esteem and confidence, and one of the best days that I had was when we talked about the fact, I was like, listen, you guys, like, I've been in this fitness industry for years. Like, I know I'm in a different side of this. And I said, the girls who are naked online are the ones with the least confidence, because the only thing that they think is valuable is their body. And I see the same thing with Lily Phillips. The only thing that she feels is valuable is what's in between her legs. And it sounds ironic, but it's true. Because if she thought she had more value, or she had an ability to do other things, she wouldn't be doing this. Because you could see the pain in her eyes and in her voice after she did it. You could see that it was like, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it, and she even says so. The last thing I want to talk about was something that was really sad to me too, was when she started discussing her future.
Ever find a boyfriend?
Yeah.
But there's so many guys out in the world. I think, one poor bastard's got to marry me. I rather think it's going to be someone from the industry or someone who is into lending me out.
Lending you out?
Yeah, like into hot wife or being a...
So the interviewer was asking her, do you ever see yourself getting married? Do you ever see yourself getting a relationship? And she was like, it has to be someone who's in the industry and someone who's willing to lend me out. Someone who's willing to lend you out? And I think, I don't know, you guys, maybe I'm just a prude, maybe I'm just like, whatever, but I cannot imagine myself being with a man who is okay with sharing me with other men. But again, I think she feels relegated to this career. I think she feels relegated to this sort of reputation, and she doesn't really know what to do next. She feels trapped. And again, as believers, I believe that there's redemption anywhere. I believe that she can turn this around. I believe that she can turn her life around if she really wants to, and figure out a way to turn this into a career that is something that you can feel good about, that you don't have to hide from your friends and family. Because the reality is, nobody wants to feel that shame. Nobody wants to feel that. And when you work with women, you can start to pick up on their nonverbal cues. And what I see here is just, there is shame, there is regret, but it's also like, this money, there's money involved. And so I feel immense sadness and really pity for her, that we have come to a place in our society that this is where people are making millions doing this, and how this is going to change. She goes, I'm going to do 1,000 people in one day. I don't know if she just said that for the camera because she wants to come across as confident and I'm assured and self-assured in what I'm doing, or if she genuinely is going to do 1,000 men in 24 hours. I don't know. My message to Lily is that you are worth so much more than what your body can give to a man and the pleasure that you can give to a man. And there are men out there, not a lot, but there are men out there who will value you for more than your ability to pleasure them. The guy who interviewed you said so as much. He's like, that's not true. Cause he's probably thinking, I'm not like that. Like, I'm not going to just automatically sexualize a girl. He's not thinking that. But the industry that she's in, the whatever ideology that she has been inundated with has told her that that's true. Now, she could be using that as an excuse for why she's doing what she's doing. I won't, deny that. She could be using that as an excuse, but part of her might actually believe it. And a lot of women believe that. They believe that all men are bad, all men are terrible. My hope and prayer for her is that she comes to the realization that she has a lot more value than just putting her body, her mind, her soul at risk for these men who are just sick, just absolutely sick.
Editing, Joanna Joy here. I just want to make sure I say this, that I'm very clear. I think it is absolutely disgusting that these men even wanted to engage in this behavior. I think our society has become absolutely desensitized to the value of women and to the value of a woman's body. And the fact that there were even 100 men even lining up to do this just speaks to the depravity of what our culture has come to. The other thing I found absolutely disgusting and degenerate is the fact that her father said that one of his friends had seen her tapes. Now, you tell me, does this girl value herself if her father is like, yeah, it's fine, my daughter's a porn star and you can watch her stuff? That's disgusting. This poor girl does not feel loved, does not feel supported, does not feel like she has value. And a lot of that comes from people like her father who do not have boundaries for her, who are not protecting her. His friends are unwell. She looks like she's about 15, to be honest. So any man who is watching this and watching her has a problem. And what's sad to me, you guys, is all of the commentary channels who are men who are not pointing out how sick and disgusting and depraved and degenerate and devoid of morality that the men are who went on and did this. And I think it needs to be said. And men are supposed to hold other men accountable. And because they're too busy blaming women, this is why this perpetuates. This is exactly why it perpetuates. So I just wanted to make sure that I'm clear on that. All right, back to the video.
All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.